Hey everyone, Joe here. iZotope have brought out a new reverb plugin, the Neoverb. I've got to review it today. We're going to find out if it's worth your time or if it's just another reverb plugin. There are so many reverbs on the market already, but iZotope have added a few new functions, a few interesting features to help it stand out from the crowd. And of course, they've included their signature AI assistant tools so that you can have a computer pick your reverb sound for you, if you'd rather. I'm going to go through all the features, show you what's unique about this plugin, and then I'm going to let you hear it on some drums, on some acoustic guitar and vocals to give you a nice varied, nice idea of how it's going to sound on different sources. So it's worth listening through to all three of those. And throughout the review, I'm going to drop a few reverb mixing hints and tips for those of you who are learning mixing. So let's take a look at the user interface and what it's got under the hood. Right from the start, you can see it's really quite an attractive plugin. If you're not familiar with the plugin already, this triangular thing it might be a bit confusing. It's got three different little symbols there that match up with this kind of diagram. So the top one there is your early reflections, and then the pink one there, you can change between some short reverbs like room, plate, medium chamber, and then the orangey looking one is for your longer styles of reverb, your larger ones like hall and large chamber. And then you can set all of these individually. So if you pop the hood open, you can see you've got most of the standard reverb parameters, the time in milliseconds, the size, diffusion, so on. Then what that space does is just a combination of time and size, just for quick usage really. I really like what they've done here. I like it in plugins where you start off with quite a simple interface that lets you make really quick changes when you just want to make subtle adjustments to your sound that you've already crafted, but then that allows you to kind of pop the hood open and get into the more nitty gritty. Using that circle, you can blend between them. So for example, if you were right here, it would be purely the chamber, and then you can add your reflections, your early reflections, or have a balance of all three. And then we've got a pre-EQ and an EQ for the reverb itself. Now I really like that they've included two here. Most plugins are only going to have the reverb EQ. But what this means is that you can slap a Neoverb on your bus and then you don't have to add EQ plugins on top of that. So let's cut to the chase and see what it sounds like. I've just started with a drums preset because I wanted to hear what the presets sound like. I don't normally use them, but you know, sometimes you find a nice one. But we'll make some adjustments as we go, and I will show you the Reverb Assistant tool that everybody has probably been waiting for. So let's just get some drums going. Okay. So that's just the preset. Let's turn it up so you can really hear what's happening. And I'm gonna craft something myself here. I like a nice drum room. I'd normally only put the reverb on, well, everything except for the kick, but I've just to give you a quick example, I've just put it on the drum bus. So I'm just going to EQ out before it even hits the reverb. I can get that kick, the low end of the kick out of there. So I'm going to set each one in turn. I'm going to get a nice drum room there. It's a little bit bigger. This is a prog rock song, so nice big drums. And then let's have a nice chamber on the other side. And then you got the early reflections as well. I find where this plugin really shines is when you do create two quite contrasting reverb styles and then blend between the two. So I've created quite a large reverb there. I'm going to see what the Reverb Assistant does with it. To get started, of course, as with other iZotope plugins, you just click on the Assistant button and then you just choose a few options. So let's have a listen, because it doesn't work without playing the audio. So we can go from realistic, just to realistic small drum room to something a lot more dramatic, as they call it, but ultimately it's just a larger type of reverb. I'm trying to go for something similar to the one we already made and see what the assistant does with it. So lean onto the dramatic side. You can change the size. It's a bit long, yeah. Medium's nice. And then the tone, you've got clean, dark, bright and airy. You go for the clean, get that body on the snare. Tends to get lost a bit with the bright. And now it's doing some work with the EQ curves. So it's saying that it's unmasking, so it doesn't, so you don't get kind of messy reverbs, supposedly. And it hasn't. You can see it hasn't done an awful lot. It's cut a couple of notch filters out, like a dB up there and a couple of dB in the middle. It's done nothing on the out. Let's compare the two. This is with no AI assisted EQ. And with, yeah, I kind of like what it's done in the middle there. It's kind of stopping the snare from getting a little bit boomy. So yeah, I like what it's done. It speeds things up in a way. Let's move on and see what this thing sounds like on some acoustic guitar. So we're in another session with some acoustic guitar. On the original mix, I've got quite a bright plate on there because it's in a rock track, so it's kind of just there for some texture. One other awesome thing about this plugin actually is that you can resize the window. I wish all plugins did this. But yes, let's get a plate on this acoustic guitar. So the plate's in the purple section. I'm going to take out a fair bit of the low end on entry. Okay, let's see what the assistant does with this. Let's lean on the realistic side for this. Go a bit smaller, bright. Okay, so I do like the sound of that. It's given me a similar kind of vibe to the reverb that I picked. Obviously, partially that's going to be because of the EQ settings that I put on there. But I wanted a plate. See, that's the thing. If you know exactly what you want, then the assistant is probably not going to be helpful to you. But if you're looking for a bit of inspiration, or you're just trying to do a really quick mix and you just want to save some time, then it might be helpful. But certainly not as essential as the AI assistants in some of iZotope's other more well-known tools like the RX or Ozone, for example. Let's take a look at vocals. So for the vocals, I'm going to go straight in with the Reverb Assistant and see what it does with them. I want quite a long, large reverb. It's got quite an ethereal quality, this section of the song, which you'll get in a second. So let's go for something dramatic and large. A little bit less of that. Airy. I think that will suit the singer's voice. Okay. Yeah, I quite like what they've done there. Well, the computer has done there. On a bit more of a hall feeling. Okay. Yeah, quite a transformative effect. So yeah, if you've got an idea in mind of just the general sound that you're going for, but either want to save time or you just want a bit of inspiration, then the AI assistant can be quite useful. But it doesn't always do what I'm expecting it to do. And I think in practice, on actual mixes, I probably wouldn't use it that much, and it wouldn't end up saving me that much time. I think maybe if you're a beginner, it might be kind of useful to give you an idea of what would work in a certain situation, but it's quite a pricey plugin, and if you're a beginner, you're probably going to be sticking with stock plugins anyway, which is what I recommend. The UI is really nice, it's simple to use. I do really like this blending function. It's a very versatile reverb. You could literally copy and paste this across probably all of your reverb buses, with possibly with the exact same settings, and literally just playing around with this and getting the sound that suits a particular track. I think if I spent a little more time with this and created a bunch of presets, then it could be a really useful plugin. Probably won't be picking it up. I'm using the trial version at the moment, at least not now anyway. It's very versatile, but the added bonus of the AI assistant doesn't really swing it for me at this stage. But if all you're using at the moment is stock reverb plugins and you're looking to spend a little money on something new, then Neoverb is definitely worth considering. Download the trial, see what you think. I've still got a few days left on the trial, and I think I'll still probably have a play around with it because it's actually quite fun to use as well. So not essential, but it's definitely an interesting plugin. Leave a comment below. Let me know what your favourite reverb plugin is. And I'm posting videos on here every single Tuesday, so hit that subscribe button if you want more plugin reviews and mixing tips. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.